This is Ecclesiasticus 27:1. Many have sinned for a small matter, and he that seeketh for abundance will turn his eyes away. I'd like to start off by saying, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kol Holoyim La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad, the Akim and the Akwat that's listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing that the lesson is edifying. It's the brother Shawab Amwan back at you with another lesson. All right. And going into the title, all right, we are one hand closer to the Rice Krispy treat. It's coming. Okay. And again, I'm gonna open back up with Ecclesiasticus 27:1. Many have sinned for a small matter, and he that seeketh for abundance will turn his eyes away. As the nail sticketh fast between the joinings of the stones, so the sin stick close between buying and selling. All right. Let me see what that looks like in the GNT real quick. All right. This is Sirach 27. In the GNT, it says, many people have sinned while looking for a profit. If you want to be rich, you have to keep blinders on your eyes. It is hard to remove a peg that is stuck between the two stones of a house, and it is just as hard to remove dishonesty from buying and selling. Okay, so this is basically going into, it was juicier in the in actual KJV, all right, but this is going into basically that MOTB that eventually is going to be made mandatory, all right, and it's going to come through the way of these digital IDs, which the digital ID is not the actual MOTB, all right, but eventually it will be made, all right, that RFID physically. Okay, this is just that prep up, all right, for them to make mandatory that RFID, because people are already starting to stand up against it. Okay, and they're just going to come with a different solution, which is going to be that actual Rice Krispy treat. Okay, but like it said right here, it said it is hard to remove a peg that is stuck between two stones of a house, and it's just as hard to remove dishonesty from buying and selling. All right, because these devils are going to lie to you, all right, by the way of bringing convenience for you to believe that this thing of them bringing in this new world order, okay, of them bringing in this RFID being made mandatory, that it's going to be a normal thing, you know, and they've been putting it in your eyes through gradualism, right, to basically make you feel like it's nothing, okay, when in all reality, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai told you that if you take that, all right, you're gonna have to feel the wrath of his indignation. You see, you're gonna end up you're gonna be put in that lake of fire, obviously, at the end of the day. That's exactly what's gonna happen. You see, so you know, a lot of dishonesty is gonna come, you know, from this buying and selling. All right, this product that supposedly, you know, you're not gonna be able to buy or sell, and a lot of dishonesty is gonna come from it. Okay. So with that being said, let me grab this. This is Habakkuk 2. And so like this is 2 and 3. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it shall surely come. It will not tarry. Behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him. And whose soul? All right. Esau's soul. You see, Esau, his soul is man, is just made to be that vessel of this dishonor, you see, of literally dishonesty. Okay. Everything that this devil does has an agenda behind it, and it's made to bring you closer to sin, you see, to sin before your maker. Because this devil is still pissed off about him losing a birthright that he'll never get back. Still pissed off that he will never have repentance, you see. And he sees that the end of the world is coming, the end of his world, all right, of his era, okay, which scriptures say what? All right. For Esau's the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So we sees that Jacob is about to be set, okay, in his reign instead, okay. And YAHAWAH'S is going to be the new king to take over, and is going to rain righteousness upon him, you see, and rain righteousness upon this planet Earth forever and ever, you see. So it says, behold, the soul which is lifted up, meaning proudful, is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Okay. It says, yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a pride man, all right, by different philosophies. Okay, he's an arrogant person. You see, all he does is try to spew different philosophies to make you fall into these different traps, you know, deceitful traps. All right, that's the cunning craftiness that this devil has, that he'll have you, you know, tossed to and fro with every wind of doctrine. All right, when the Lord told us to seek ye out the book, none of these shall fail. You see, none shall want her mate, meaning that these scriptures, all right, all these prophecies written in these scriptures, none of them are going to fail. Okay. At the end of the day, what's written in these scriptures is your salvation. It's faithful and true. You see, so none of the prophecies are going to fail at all. All right. And what does it say? Let me just grab it real quick. Lost my train of thought for a second. Isaiah 34. Oh, that should not want her mate. Okay. Meaning that no other philosophy, no other book goes with this Bible, man. All right. This Bible was written to you Israelites, by Israelites, for the Israelites only. Okay. And the Lord doesn't make no mistakes. The Lord is not the author of confusion. So the Lord gave you the manual of what to follow by, all right, to be able to defeat this devil at the last days. Okay. So like here, going back to Habakkuk, okay, Habakkuk 2 and 5. And it says, yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlarges the desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. And how is he going to do that? Heap all people together by the way of this Rice Krispy tree, you see. And because these people have put their trust in Egypt, all right, which is going to eventually be their confusion, and they have made covenants with death, you see, the Lord going to end up destroying every single one of them. All right, let's just grab that real quick. This is Isaiah 30. I'm going to grab that real quick. This is Isaiah 30 and 1. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin, that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. You see, it's going to be their humility. It's going to be their disgrace, because eventually, by them following in the ways of Egypt, which is America, because spiritually we are Sodom and Egypt, all right, they're going to realize that their king, okay, was not a king at all. All right, as the scriptures tell you in Ecclesiasticus, the 10th chapter, okay, a wise king. All right, let's grab that real quick. Ecclesiasticus 10 and 1, it says, a wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. And this place is a place with no order. All right, the kings that rule this world today, none of them instruct their people. All right, it says, as the judge of the people is as himself, so are his officers, and what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. An unwise king destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. You see, so we have kings that are unwise, so that's why our people are destroyed, especially our people, man. You see, because they trust in the kings that are set up on earth instead of trusting in the true king, which is YAHAWAH'S. And the Lord said, my people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee. You see, so it says, an unwise king destroyed this people, but through the prudence of him which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. The power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord YAHAWAH'S, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. And that's the faith and the patience of the saints waiting on YAHAWAH'S, all right, our true king, to set up righteousness upon the earth. All right, so this place is destroyed because the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Okay, so let's grab this. 1 second. This is this is Isaiah 28:15, and it says, because ye have said, we have made a covenant with death, and with hell are we at agreement. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, it shall not come onto us, for we have made lies our refuge, and under falsehood we have hid ourselves. You see, and that's what these 2/3 that are going to end up lining up, all right, in the hour of temptation, all right, that's why they're going to line up, because they have made a covenant with death and hell. They are in agreement, all right, meaning that they have gone after the ways of Egypt. They have followed their king that destroys people, man, all right, and therefore they're destroyed themselves. All right, 18 says, and your covenant with death shall be disannulled, and your agreement with hell shall not stand. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, then shall they be trodden down by it. You see, so them thinking that, you know, they're going to get help from Egypt, all right, it's going to actually be their destruction. It's going to be their shame, you see, because the Lord has a standard he's going to lift up against this devil. When the time comes, all right, he's not going to be able. All right, let's grab that. This is Job 5:12, and it says, he disappointed the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the froward is carried headlong. You see, so the Lord is going to disappoint this devil by lifting up that standard just when he's about to fill up his belly, like it tells you in Job, the 20th chapter, right, in the height of his sufficiency. Okay, when he's at the top of the world with everything, all right, he's finally heaping all these nations together, all right, with this RFID that's going to eventually be presented and made mandatory. All right, that's when the Lord is going to lift up that standard upon them. Okay, now let's grab a couple videos that I got showing the times that we're in. All right, and it's coming. You see, we are one hand away. Okay, give me 1 second. It's like I'm trying to get into the Instagram. All right, so this is one of them right here. I'm going to play a couple of them. I'll play about 1, 2, 3. Got about 5 of them. All right, I got about 6 of them. All right, which that's the spirit, because what did the Lord say? All right, his number is 666. All right, so let's start with this one.
It's the door closing that's not intended to be opened again. And the idea is everything you do, I mean everything eventually, you will need a digital ID, and your digital ID will be connected to a digital currency. If you want to see what's planned for the West tomorrow, then look at China today, where if you are not behaving in a way that the government wants you to behave, then you lose credits in their social credit system. And if you lose enough, you can't go on a plane, you can't go on a train, basically take part in mainstream society. You are excluded. This is a global agenda. This is not about Keir Starmer. He's a gopher. It's not about Donald Trump. He's a gopher. And they're gophers for this global network that I call the global cult. And the idea is to eventually have a world government which won't be elected, purely appointed technocrats, bureaucrat, that will oversee this AI digital system. And you won't be able to go anywhere in the world without this system is tracking you. Here we are now looking at this line in the sand, and if we allow it to be crossed, it's going to be very, very difficult to push back. And that's why it's so vital that the people of, well, this country, but all countries, realize the scale of freedom deletion this digital ID is a massive step towards, and fundamental to the deletion of freedom.
All right. So, and again, all right, you have to understand the digital ID that's being pushed right now, okay, is not the actual MOTB. The MOTB is going to be when the RFID is made mandatory, okay? What they're doing is they're prepping you up with this digital ID that they're about to let go, that they're about to bring out now, which is a digital wallet, basically, you see? And yeah, they're putting that you can't buy and you can't sell, okay? That you could get your passport information. But again, all right, that's not an actual physical implementation that's being put into your hand or your forehead, okay? Again, that's why you have to know that it's just basically a prequel to what is about to actually be brought out, okay? Because they have to prep you up and they have to, get you ready for it in a certain type of manner, you see? So they're doing it just like they've been doing it all of our lives with gradualism, giving us what, credit cards. Started with credit cards. Matter of fact, it started with animals, man. You had animals, cats, dogs. These cats and dogs actually got an actual implementation into their bodies to be tracked, you see? But see, they make it seem like it's normal. All right. So it's the same thing by getting rid of the actual physical dollar, the fiat currency, right? That's actually, hand to hand. Okay. It's basically still transferable. All right. And then when you have this new system that's being brought out, right? They're not just going to bring it out just like that for you because it will cause too much drama. See, people already standing up with the digital IDs that's being put out in the world, right? As a vibration, you see. But what they're doing is they're just stirring up your mind to make you feel like it's normal, and it's called gradualism, okay? And eventually, that is going to go from actually being a card or whatever ID that they're trying to have to an actual implementation into your hand. Because at that point, you can still lose your digital wallet. You can still lose your digital ID, of biometrics, whatever they're trying to do with it right now, you see. But eventually they want it to be in your body, okay? So you yourself entirely in your body could be that digital wallet, that digital data that they need, you see. And it's not going to be able to be transferable between us and people. All right. It's only going to be transferable between you and the government. Everything has to run through that system, you see. So that's why, a lot of people are confused thinking that this is the MOTB, what's about to be dropped, your little Google digital wallet, that Apple Pay digital wallet that they just dropped, a couple days ago, you see. But because our people are dumbfounded basically and don't understand these things, they're already thinking that that's what it is. You see, that's why they're going to end up, that snare is going to come upon the whole world and basically fool them because they have no understanding, all right, what the actual RFID is about, all right? It has to be an RFID C hit being put into you, all right, to track you, okay? If you have, let's just say, this digital ID of biometrics, they can't track you fully, man, because you could drop that somewhere and then they can't pinpoint where you are, but only that ID that you lost is pinpointed somewhere at a location that you're not. But eventually, when they put it into your body, now they could pinpoint exactly where your body's at. You see? So
crazy freaking news. Okay, so digital ID is officially, and for the first time ever, live in the United States, and it was quietly launched this afternoon through the Apple Wallet. Go check if you don't believe me. The option is now there. And I don't even have automatic updates set. I don't even know how it got in there. So they're beginning with 12 states and Puerto Rico with plans to rapidly expand.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, you don't need these phones. If you really realize, it's not like back in the day where you could have the choice to update your phones. All right, they're actually not giving you a choice to update your phone no more. It just updates on its own. You see, they make it harder and harder for you to actually run through your phone and be able to do these little things. Okay, that's why they got a damn phone every 3 months. Another phone comes out. Okay, this shit's like a Pokemon series, man. Comes out every 2 damn months. All right, with another phone, because every time they drop another phone, it has a newer feature, and it's much easier and easier with more convenience. All right. So it's the same thing that they're doing with these phones, man. They don't have to, ask your permission anymore to update. It requires an update by itself every 2 months for you to keep yourself ahead of the game with the new technology. If not, what happens is your phone bugs out and misbehaves. It doesn't work. You see, forcing you to go update it anyway. You see.
The nation. Apple calls it secure and private, but critics say that this is the first major step toward a centralized ID system, laying the groundwork for smart city surveillance.
Like she just said, it's the first major step to a centralized ID, which that centralized ID will become a universal ID that can be used worldwide. Okay, again, they're coming into a new world order, so they want everything to be all in one. A new world order, a new beast system, all right, that is all tied together globally, all right? And now you can have access anywhere in the world, all right? That's why it has to be an actual physical implementation, man.
Checkpoints, credit scores in the future where your ability to drive, work, or even buy groceries could depend on digital compliance from taxes to your behavior. You know, silly little things like that. Crazy freaking news. Okay, so
just grab this one.
They start requiring digital ID to fly now and use the
internet. If you see how they're doing it, they're doing it with things that we love the most. Our people love to fly. Everybody wants a vacation, right? So they're doing it little by little by knocking out the things that you love the most and requiring you to have an actual ID, a digital ID with it. You see? So everybody loves to travel, right? The other one was what she said?
YouTube. If they start requiring digital ID to fly now and use the internet.
Yeah, see, everybody wants to use the internet because everybody's always looking for some type of entertainment, some type of information. See? So they're taking the things that we love the most and gradually introducing it with these things, you see?
Going to do.
Think about it. YouTube, Google, Spotify, maybe even email. They tie it all to a digital ID and you refuse, you're locked out. But here's the thing, we still have time. The internet wasn't built by big tech, and we don't have to let them own it. Start here.
Yeah, but it's simple math. See, they'll try to tell you, let's all stand up together and boycott it, but there's no way around it because what are they doing elsewhere? You know, you got war on the land, war on food, war on water, war on basically all of our resources. So now they're basically putting you in a predicament where they're starving you to death. They're making you thirst for this, basically. That's why you had Bill Gates that said, the first pandemic didn't get their attention, but the second one will. All right. And he meant that because they already knew what their agenda was. They wanted to see in 2020 how much control they really had over the people. And they already showed by stupid asses buying, toilet paper and shit like that when they weren't worried about food, but they were worried about toilet paper, fighting amongst themselves. Everybody was going crazy, right? So, they said to themselves, all right, well, if we starve them, all right, we take away their resources, we take away things like, they can't get a home or buy a home unless they have this, they can't get into their house unless they have this. You see, now it's putting you in a predicament for your life. And because they just put it all in your face and shove it all in your face, pretty much people will comply with it eventually because they're just going to go with each other. See, the people that's in this truth, the 1/3 that believes in Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, that's why we're going to separate from this society. And it's going to be even harder for us. And we're going to have to completely pull our trust in Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. All right, because there's going to be no other way for us to get up out of here unless we put that trust in the Lord. You see, we're not going to be able to be part of anything in society. Okay.
Gmail for Proton Mail or Tutanota. Use Brave, Tor, or LibreWolf to browse. Switch to Odyssey instead of YouTube. Back up your files on Nextcloud, not Google Drive. They want compliance through convenience, but privacy and freedom are still options if you take them. If we all start migrating now, we weaken their grip. The more people who resist, the harder it is for them to enforce it.
And at the end of the day, you can't resist it because it's all the will of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. As the scriptures say, man's going is of the Lord, so how can a man understand his own way? All right, the Lord said in Revelations 3:10 for the elect, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will keep you from the hour of temptation. So the Lord is what's going to keep you from the hour of temptation. You see, this is why you got to stay prayed up and be, you know, pray to the Lord that you are worthy to escape these things. You see, escape that snare, because you can say in your mind, I ain't going to take the microchip. I ain't going to do this. I ain't going to do none of that. But the Lord directs your steps and makes you take it anyway. You see, so you have to stay prayed up with Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, man. Okay. There's no, they could boycott all they want. It's prophecy. Okay. It's a prophecy that the Lord has written in the book of life. Okay. And this Bible telling you that this will happen in those last days. And the Lord said, all right, not a jot or a tittle. Let's grab that real quick. All right. Till all things be fulfilled. Excuse me. Till all things be fulfilled. All right. This is Matthew 5 and 18, and it says, for verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. You see, let's grab this. This is the Lord required that which passed, KJV. All right, this is Ecclesiastes 3 and 15, and it says that which has been now, all right, and that which is to be has, that which has been is now, and that which is to be has already been, and Yahweh required that which is past. And if you understand reincarnation, all right, this was always around basically, man. See, because in the ancient world, they were just what? They were branding slaves, okay, with showing that they were, you know, they belonged to a certain property. You see, they were branding, you know, animals, horses, to show that their owners own those horses. All right, so it was always here. It was just coming in a different manner this time through reincarnation, because we live in a different era. We live in a different time. All right, we're not living like the times of the ancient world. Now we're living in the fourth industrial revolution, the Internet of Things. So it came the same exact way, in the same manner that it was back in those days, but through digital form this time, you see? And these things were always around, man. Always have been around, right? Just go back to that video.
If they start requiring digital, and this is Dr. Sherry Tenpenny. If they start requiring digital ID to fly now and use the internet, what are you going to do?
Think about it. YouTube, Google, Spotify.
If they start requiring,
they want compliance through convenience, but privacy and freedom are still options if you take them. If we all start migrating now, we weaken their grip. The more people who resist, the harder it is for them to enforce it. Tag someone who still thinks this is a conspiracy. Show them we're building solutions.
if you're new here, hey, my name is.
And if you think it's a conspiracy, man, that's because you're not woke. All right. And you're going to line up. Okay. When that time comes, if you haven't figured it out by now and you're still just laughing and calling us cuckoo heads. All right. Calling us tinfoil hat niggas. Well, that's because you're going to be destroyed with America, you see. And that's ultimately coming of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, that he got you under strong delusion to think that these things are not so. All right. When it's clearly in your face. See, the same way the prophets come out in the highways and hedges and tell you what the will of the Lord is. All right. So we could get the blood off our hands. Esau plays the same game. All right. He tells you right in his face by movies, you see, by predictive programming, so he could get the blood off his hands. So when it comes out and comes forth, you will sit there and you can't sit there and say, okay, I wasn't warned about this, man. There's warnings everywhere, man. There's red flags everywhere you look. All right, of what time we are entering into, man. The Lord told you that in those last days there shall be perilous times. We are in very dangerous times. Okay. And that's why, for the elect's sake, all right, the Lord is speeding up the process. All right. The days are being shortened, because if not, then no flesh will be saved, man. We will sit here and all become cyborgs with this damn devil if the Lord doesn't intervene, you see, because he wants to sit in the temple of the Most High, saying that he is God, that he is power. And how is he going to sit in the temple? We are the temple of the Lord, man. So he's going to sit in the temple of the Lord by putting that technology, all right? As the scriptures say, we are not ignorant to Satan's devices, man. But see, the rest of the world is ignorant because they're caught in gross darkness, which is the ignorance of the people. So they are ignorant to the fact that this devil wants to put a device in your body to be able to track your every move, all right, and track your thoughts, okay, and track everything about you, you see?
The truth with solutions that we need to know, because when we know the truth, we can take back our power and shift the collective consciousness into one of God, love, and light, instead of fear and evil and stagnation where they want us. They want a world of worker bees. They want you just sick enough so you can pay those big pharma bills that are going in their back pockets. Although, thank God, it looks like RFK is going to fix that with the kickbacks they get for the you-know-what. So, anyways,
yeah, that's bullshit.
Sure,
all right, they ain't going to fix nothing at the end of the day, because the Lord said there's going to be your confusion, man. All right, I got 3 more, Salakia. Let me read this. It says 17 countries have rolled out or passed digital ID laws in the last 3 months. The EU, the UK, Laos, China, Taiwan, Mexico, Zambia, Canada, Ethiopia, Thailand, Vietnam, Australia, Costa Rica, Switzerland, okay, New Guinea, okay. You got I believe Jamaica just joined into it also. You see, all these nations are literally in cahoots with what's about to happen, and they're down with it. You see, all these governments, that's how you know that all the governments of these different countries all sit down at the round table together, man, and they all, you know, speak on how can they draw their country to basically, you know, fall for the bait. Okay. So let's grab this one.
Independent journalist Michael Schellenberger has been digging into the digital ID issue. He just released a lengthy piece on this on his Substack called Public. He joins us now with his thoughts. Michael, look, the argument is it's like it'll help thwart illegal immigration, ID fraud, streamline healthcare services. It sounds fantastic.
Yeah, see, that's another reason that's another way they're gonna get a bunch of that. And we said, I remember me saying that a year ago, 2 years ago, man, that when they start running down on these immigrants, all right, they were going to be the first ones to be the guinea pigs. That's why they've been doing all this, you know, all this ICE shit, all right, taking back these people to supposedly their countries, but they're really not. They're taking them to straight FEMA camps, man. And what they do is they use them as the guinea pig. And they're telling them, if you want to come back into our country, you have to abide by the new system that we're about to bring out, you see. And a lot of these people gonna do that because they believe that America's home of the land, you know, the land of opportunity, home of the free, you know, when it's actually the worst place you can actually live on planet Earth, man. This is the #1 place of slavery. Okay, you're actually more free in these other countries, man, than over here. And here you are in total slavery without you even realizing it. Okay.
What the heck's the problem?
Right. Hey, great to be with you, Laura. Yeah, I mean, another conspiracy theory that has started coming true. I mean, we saw this announcement in September. It took
so then it's not a conspiracy theory no more. You see, everybody was laughing and saying that we just conspiracy theorists, right? But all of it's coming true right in front of your eyes, man. Showing you that the true prophets have been here for a while now. All right, for especially the elders and apostles that have been doing this for 40 plus years, telling you this way back in those days that this was going to come about. Okay. And look, it's happening right in front of your faces, but you guys are just straight ignorant to it.
The World Economic Forum had been pushing digital IDs, the United Nations, the European Union, Britain. Of course, the really terrifying example is China, which uses digital IDs and a social credit score to control speech and to control what people think and say online. I mean, it could come in a lot of different ways. They'll start voluntary, then they'll make it mandatory. They'll have rewards, and then they'll have punishments. It's quite terrifying. And when you just listen to what the advocates for digital IDs say, it's terrifying. And, you know, Laura, one thing I learned from this last round of investigations is that this is a huge cybersecurity threat. The idea that, I mean, imagine if you get hacked in one of the many websites that you log into. Imagine everything suddenly being hacked because it's all centralized in a single place. That cybersecurity threat alone ought to be enough to kill the digital ID. But again, this is potentially digital totalitarianism.
And that's why eventually it's going to have to become an actual physical implementation in the body, man. You see, because the digital ID can actually be killed. It can be hacked into. All right. But see, they're going to tell you that you can't be hacked, or nothing can be hacked if it's in your body, which that's also a lie, because what they really want to do is hack into you, hack into your thoughts. Okay.
And journalist Michael Schellenberger has been digging into the digital ID.
Now let's grab this other one.
I want to take you on a trip in memory lane. We're going to pull out something from 2016. Some of you guys will remember this, some of you won't.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to save that one because that one's a long ass one. I'll grab this one.
Travel, internet, social media, communications, energy usage requires a valid digital ID, without which you are locked out. This has already happened in China and actually a lot of Asian countries. 86 million people in Vietnam have lost their bank accounts because they refuse to comply with digital ID. Okay, so we are seeing this already, and there's other countries. In China, hundreds of thousands of people are basically, they have nothing. They're just out on the streets because they lost all of their social currency, meaning they can't function in society.
This is why we've been telling you.
These are people who
this is why we've been telling you for the longest, man. Get your money out of these banking systems, man, because that cyber attack is coming. All right, they're gonna cyber attack this place. All right. And that's going to be just an easier way for them to reset everything and tell you, listen, we lost everything, but hey, we got a new system now. All right. And now we can bless everybody with this amount of money in their account. You know, everybody has equal accounts. All right. Another form of communism, man. You see? And then now we can start this universal basic income. All right. Everybody just stay at home and you'll get paid for staying at home. Okay. And now they can bring in that social credit score system. All right. Well, you have this amount of money. You only can spend this amount of money. You can only spend this many items at the store. And if you don't comply, well, then we'll shut you down. You see, if you're doing things that you're not supposed to be doing, your credit score goes down and it takes away points and it gives you points, whatever. You see, it's all set up right in front of your face to bring it in the way they want to, man. You see?
But because they did not like what they were posting and things that they were doing, or they didn't meet certain requirements, these were just working, healthy people, not criminals or anything like that. And then when I show you what is being said here and done here in comparison, it's going to shock a lot of you. So let's continue. Once that situation is in place, the conditions of validity can be set to whatever they want. Didn't take the latest experimental mRNA vaccine, digital ID invalid. Posted misinformation on social media, digital ID invalid.
And they're really trying to get to the profits for that one, you see? Because all this about taking away the internet and, and then, hate speech and all that, all right, deeming you as a domestic terrorist if you speak against, the little hats, and you speak against your president, all that. It's all part of the persecution for the men of the Lord, man. All right, they could care less what the 2/3 of this world is speaking about. They're not the ones that are woke. All right, they're really trying to get to the ones that are woke so they could shut their mouth. So when that time comes, all right, that is about to be made mandatory, we can no longer speak to the people and give them the scenario of what's coming. You see, because the Lord said that this word is sharper than any two-edged sword. All right, piercing and dividing the asunder of soul and spirit. You see, and is the intent. And it's a discerner of the intent of the mind, you see. So we're able to know what's Esau's next move because we have the word of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, you see. And that's why there eventually will be a famine of the word, not a bread of water, all right, which that'll also happen. But mostly there's going to be a famine of the word, of hearing the words of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. And people are going to seek to and fro for answers. All right. And they're not going to be able to because the Lord is going to cleave our tongues to the roof of our mouths. You see, this is why you have to get this truth right now and repent before the Lord shuts everything down in this place.
Social credit score too low? Digital ID invalid. Exceeded your carbon allowance this month? Digital ID invalid. Voice criticism of your new technocratic overlords? Digital ID invalid. If we allow our governments to succeed in rolling out digital ID, we will end up living in a giant open-air digital prison from which it will be virtually impossible to ever escape. So I've told you guys that we are in the end times. This is it. When you compare what I told you about what's going on.
And none of these people have told you that, man. These people are now waking up to the fact because the real prophets have been out on the highways and hedges for quite some time, man, telling you this. And ultimately, all right, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai warned you about this long time ago. All right, it was written for a reason. As the Lord said in the scriptures, everything written aforetime was written for our learning. You see, so the Lord has been warning you since the beginning. The Lord said that he declared the end from the beginning. All right, so from the beginning, he was already warning what was to come eventually. You see. So when they say, oh, we've been telling you it's the end of days. No, you ain't been telling us shit because you're not preparing nobody for the battle. You see, they're not preparing you with the names of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. You know, they're not telling you to put your faith in Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. They're actually telling you to fight up against the system. They're telling you to trust in the system, you see, and just comply with it if you want to live. All right. But like the scriptures say, man, he that loses his life shall save his life, man. All right. He that loses his life for my name's sake shall save his life. And he that saves his life, all right, loses his life. And they're going to try to save their lives by going down to Egypt for help. Okay.
Building of the third temple, just the laws that are being put in place, these things that are secretly working behind the scenes, the 2.5 trillion spent in just a couple of months for these for Project Stargate, the huge AI data spaces, data centers that are going up all over the country. 2.5 trillion, something none of us asked for. We don't need that kind of power for anything right now, unless there will be 100% surveillance on every single American. This is going to be worldwide. There's no place that you're going to be able to go to escape. Let me just say this.
There you go. It's going to be worldwide, as we just read in Habakkuk. He heapeth all nations together. You see? Matter of fact, when you go into Luke 21, it says, as the snare shall come upon the whole world to try them, the whole world, showing you that it's going to be a global thing. Okay.
Every country is rolling this out, from third world countries to the US, the UK, Canada.
Yeah. Like the scriptures say, rich and poor, free and bond. All right. To receive that MARK in their right hand or their foreheads. She just said it. Third world countries are considered as poor countries. UK and those places also considered rich countries. You see how it goes with these scriptures. All right.
Of that. Okay. So there's nowhere to hide. I told you, you're not going to be able to, fight against the government. They're doing that in the UK right now, but they're still going ahead with it.
Yeah, that's why there's sedition among men, as it tells you in 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, that they should not regard their kings nor princes, man. You see, there will be uproars of people in the world. And the Lord told you that in 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter, measure the time diligently in itself. And when thou see the signs pass that I have told you, then you shall know that the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai is visiting this place. earthquakes in diverse places, uproars of people all over the world. You see? But everybody thinks it's just a big old party. It's just a game. It's just a phase that's just going to pass by, man.
You can protest, resist, but this is the way they want the future, and we know why.
You see? So let's end it with this.
Eating food.
All right, this is Revelation 13. Revelation 13 and 16. And it says, matter of fact, let's take it from 14. And it says, and he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, you see, which this devil's always done deceitful things to deceive our people, right? That's why the Lord said that that we should not be ignorant to Satan's devices, because when it goes into the means of those miracles, it means these devices, these technologies that these devils have, man, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. All right, going into what? That ancient the revival of the ancient Roman Empire. Okay, so you know they have already made that image. Okay, now they just carried on that image and they're trying to make it greater now. All right, it says, and he had power to give life onto the image of that beast, that the image of the beast should both speak. Okay, and that image is speaking right now. All right. See, this is being spoken about in so many different ways, man. All right. It's being spoken by the political parties. You see, your Democrats, your Republicans speaking draconian laws. All right. And it's being spoken by the mouth of the prophets, man. All right. That vision is speaking right now. OK. And pretty soon that vision, all right, of what's to come is going to be put away. And as the scriptures say, where there is no vision, the people perish, man. That's why these people are going to end up dying. Because that vision of the Lord is going to be taken away. That's why the word of the Lord is precious right now. It's precious more than ever. Okay. It says he had power to give life onto the image of the beast, and the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. You see, well, eventually it's going to happen. Those that don't comply are going to be taken out of the way. They're going to be unalived. You see, they're going to be taken away from society. Okay. And he calls it all both, small and great, rich and poor, free and bond. Okay. Just like that lady was just saying, man, poor countries are being even put into this and agreeing with it. Rich countries are being put to it and, you know, agreeing with it. Okay. It says free and bond to receive. Yeah. Whether they be out, you know, loose out in the world today, or whether they're locked up. You know, these people that are locked up, what you think? They're not going to get this neither? Just because they're not locked up? Just because they're locked up, they're not going to receive it? You crazy. Right now, they're even talking about those that are locked up. If you want to be able to get your time done faster, all right, all you got to do is basically take this RFID, get connected to the system, and they can make you do 1,000 years in 5 minutes. You know, this is the means of those miracles, the technologies that this devil got. Okay. It says to receive a MARK in their right hand or in their foreheads. All right. They want you in that forehead going into Metapon. That's how they get the metaverse. You see, they want you connected to a cyber world, man, where you don't have to make not one damn movement. Stay right in your house, locked up. They show you that in Black Mirror. All right. It says, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the MARK or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is a number of a man, and his number is 666. All right, 666. Okay. And just like you see today, when you scan a barcode, all right, there's 3 big lines with a bunch of little lines, and those 3 big lines actually represent 666. Okay, the numbers will usually start off, you know, with the 6 in there, and in the middle there's another 6, and at the end there's a 6. All right, so it's the same thing they're going to do to you. They're going to make you a barcode, a product of this society to be scanned. You see, so that's pretty much the lesson. It was just a quick update on that. Not quick, but hey, again, through the spirit, you know. So with that being said, Barakatah Yahawah, Barakatah Yahawashi, Kol Haloim La Yahawah, Bahashem, Yahawashi, Bahashem, Bachakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect scattered abroad, the Akim and the Akwat that was listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing that the lesson was edifying. To the next one, Shalom. Keep fighting the good fight of faith. Enduring as good soldiers of Yahawashi, staying woke at all times. All right, realizing the times that we're in, you know, it is now time to wake out of sleep, for our salvation is nearer than we believed. Shalom.